Thanks for stopping by at Twisted Art Designs. Today we're going to work in the My Favorite Things art journal, and the prompt is, what are your favorite smells? My favorite smells are lilacs and puppy breath. Not at the same time, but both of those are equally things that are my favorite things to smell. So I did a nose with the word smells going up just to make it look like it's smelling things, and did this fun three-dimensional lilacs and then this interesting circle with all different kinds of puppies around it and some embossing. So if you want to see how I created this page, just stay tuned and I'll get started. For my layout, I want to do two different types of favorite smells, one on each side. So in the middle, I decided that I would sketch a nose, just put in the image of a nose that I can paint with acrylic paint, and then I'm going to put my lettering here and then separate my two images. So that's how I'm getting started. I drew in the word smells and I had my letters going up the nose because I just thought that would be a cute way of expressing the nose smelling smells. And on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a compass and I'm going to make a circle because I want a circle on this one. And it's got to be kind of sort of big. So I'm just going to lightly draw in a circle. And on this side, I'm going to use a really light spearmint paint as my background color. Next, I found some images on the internet of a bunch of different breeds of dogs, and I printed out some puppy pictures. So I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut each one of these puppy pictures out. I've laid them out in a circle going around that little light pencil line, and now I'm just going to take my matte gel medium and apply them down to the page. Next, I'm going to take a Tombow Mono drawing pen because they are permanent, and I'm going to go around each one of the puppies and outline it. There's what my circle looks like, my circle of puppies, and I've got this cute rubber stamp, and I'm going to use Ranger Archival ink and stamp that right in the middle of the circle. Actually, I think I'm going to do two of them. And I decided I want to go ahead and emboss those paw pads, and since I already did them with dye ink, I need embossing ink. So I'm going to use the Ranger embossing ink pad. It's clear, and that'll be good. I cleaned off my stamp using archival ink cleaner, and so that way my clear pad isn't going to get dirty. And I'm going to pick up some of that clear ink And try to line this up as best I can. And stamp it again. I think it'll be okay if it's not exactly on, because it'll look like a drop shadow even. And that's okay. So next I'm going to take Ranger Black embossing powder and sprinkle it over the paw pads. And I like to use a tidy tray. It's got a hole at one end. It makes saving your embossing powder really easy. Okay, and that other paw print didn't come out perfect, but I can take a paintbrush that's dry, and before I heat set this, I can go in and brush away what I don't want on here, just to clean it up. It got in between from, sometimes static. You just want to be sure you remove what you don't want, otherwise it'll melt in places and ruin your image. Like down here, you don't want powder down here, so be sure you brush it all away off your page, otherwise you're going to get little plastic particles on your page, and I don't want that. And they don't have to be perfect because they're paw prints, so I think that's probably good enough. Paw prints are messy because puppies walk through mud and dirt. So that looks good. I like that. Now I'm going to just take my heat tool and go ahead and heat it. I kind of like that they're offset. It looks shadowed. And you can watch it melt. And now I have shiny embossed paw prints. I do like that shadow from double stamping them like that. So that turned out cute. Now I'm going to take a Caran d'Ache Neo Color 2 and I'm going to go around this outside edge doing some coloring, and then I'll come back in with a water brush and blend it out. Next I'm going to use this little tiny rubber stamp and Ranger Archival ink in Seafarer since it's light. And it's just going to add some color. I'm going to come in here and lightly stamp some paw prints in my background. And I'm not inking it really heavily because I just want it to be an addition to the background. And I'm going to use these rubber stamps and black ink to put the words puppy breath going down the right side. I'm going to use my Arteza acrylic paint pens and color the inside part of these letters two-toned It's acrylic paint and it blends together really well, so I'm going to put one color at the top and one color at the bottom. And then blend them into each other for two-tone letters. And here's what my letters look like, two-toned with paint pen. Next I'm going to take my compass again and I'm going to do a smaller circle. And I want to kind of offset it. It doesn't have to be right in the middle of this circle. I'm going to make it kind of artsy. So I think what I'm going to do is just go from here. And I'm just drawing a light circle because I'm going to erase it eventually. Like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to start at that spot and I'm going to draw lines straight out as close to each other as I can get, going out to the top of each dog. Like that. And I'm going to go all the way around. I love the doodled lines. It just makes it look a little bit more fun and dynamic and interesting, leaving it light in the center. And now I'm just lightly going to erase that circle that I made, so the lines are just like free-formed. So I like that side, it looks really cute. Now on to painting the nose, doing these letters, and working on this side. My other favorite smell is lilacs, and I've printed this image. It's a beautiful photograph of lilacs, and I printed it twice. And I'm going to use this as my background over here. So I think what I'm going to do is just kind of lightly mark with pencil my edge so that I don't have to paint that whole background, since I'm going to put this down. There's no point in wasting that paint. I just kind of line it up here and then I can do my border edge. So on this side, I'm taking two different colors of green paint. It's just acrylic paint and a sponge, and I'm going to go around those outside edges. I'm applying the light color first. This is just to get a base layer down, and then I'm going to kind of marble it a little bit with some dabbing of the paint. And I'm going to go over those lines up into it, but I just wanted to basically mark out those places because I don't want to waste paint all here where the image is going to go. With this second image, what I'm going to do is to cut out some of these flowers that stand out in the middle, and I'm going to cut it out kind of big because I'm going to go ahead and put it down onto a piece of cardstock with some matte gel medium just to give it some body to it. So these flowers I want to have raised up kind of as a three-dimensional image. So I took some matte gel medium and I applied matte gel medium to this piece of file folder. It's just like a scrap piece of file folder, to the back of the piece of paper image and then to the file folder, and I've gone ahead and adhered that down as smoothly as I can get it, and then I'm going to let that dry. That's just to give it some stability. So I've gone ahead and I have put this image down with matte gel medium down in my paper and let it dry. And now I'm going to come in with 4 colors of Neocolor 2 crayons by Caran d'Ache in some shades of purple and a water brush. And I'm just going to tip color off the end of the Neocolors And then I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to add some more color to this. I mean, I know it's already colorful, but to make it more artistic and give it a little bit more flair to it, if you take a darker, brighter, or a brighter color and you go into some of these little spots here underneath that are underneath and add this darker shade. This is a, let's see, violet purple. I'm adding some violet, and I'm just going to where that image is, where the leaves are kind of, or the petals are kind of behind. And it's just going to make my image pop a little bit more and just be a little bit more artistic with my own flair, other than just a photo off the internet. So I like to go in and add some more color to it and blend it out with my finger and just make it a little bit, even a little bit more dimensional. I love how the extra colors in there just really made it pop and come to life, and it just gave it a little more interest. Now I'm going to take my little piece that I put down here onto this piece of cardstock, or file folder, and I'm going to fussy cut that little piece out. So here's a piece that I cut out that is glued down to the file folder, gave it some stability, and I chose flowers that were really well defined, and I cut them out so that it's one piece, but it's got really defined edges where those flowers are. And now what I'm going to do is take an Arteza brush pen, and I'm going to go around the edges, because there are white edges from that file folder, and if I color them in a purple like this, it's just going to add more dimension to my art piece. So it gets rid of those white edges so they don't stand out and look like file folder anymore. But it's going to be nice and colorful on those edges to really make this three-dimensional piece pop when I glue it down. And I'm going to glue it down with some raised 3D pop-up tape. And when I do, you'll be really surprised at how fun that makes it look. So I'm going to finish going around this edge, and then I'll come back and show you. So here's my piece with my edges all colored in a nice bright purpley color. And then you kind of just have to hold this down and figure out where's a good place to put it. But see how three-dimensional it's going to make this look. And I'm using pop dots. These are just inexpensive ones that I got at Dollar Tree dollar store a while back. And you just peel both sides of it and stick it to the image. So I'm going to stick on these little pop dots and peel off the backings and then stick that into place. So here's what it looks like, and see how that made it dimensional. It pops off the page and makes this image look like it's just coming to life right on the page. I love popping things up like that. And I'm going to take that same brush pen and just add a little bit of color here and there. Just since it's around this edge, it's good to bring it in somewhere else in the piece of artwork, in the darkest spots. And these Arteza brush pens are nice and vibrant. And even doing a little shadowing around underneath like that to even make it stand out a little bit more. Like that. I love it. It looks really fun. And I love lilacs, so this page is after my own heart. And now I'm going to take my white Posca pen with a fine point, and I'm going to come in here and just add in some little fine white detailing. Where it's already white, I'm going to add some more. All these little things that you add like that just make it a little bit more interesting to look at, a little more artsy, a little more dimensional. Let's see how that just brings that out. Look at that white, just makes it really, really stand out. So along these edges where there's white in the picture, just kind of follow that and add a little bit more highlight of white. And to add one more element of dimension to the picture, where all the little yellow dots are inside of the flowers, I'm going to use some yellow Nuvo drops and add some dots in those spots. So I'm just following along what's already got yellow dots and adding more, and this is going to make it really look realistic. And then you don't touch it till those dry, but look at how those, just add that extra little element of dimension. Now I'm going to take my white paint pen, and I'm going to color the inside of the words all in white. So I went ahead and used Posca paint pens to fill in my letters for the word smells. And now I'm just taking a paintbrush, a round tip paintbrush, and some Chroma Paints in these two colors for the skin tones. This is Series 1 Unbleached Titanium, and that's the lighter color. And I'm going to just come in here and use that to paint this nose. And then the other color is a little bit darker to come back in and put in some shadows on the nose. I let that acrylic paint dry, and now I'm coming back in with an Arteza brush pen in a peach color to just add a little bit more shading. These work fine on top of acrylics as long as the acrylic paint is dry. So I just wanted to add a little bit more shading around it. And I'm not worried about it looking perfect. It is just to give the impression that it is a nose. And I'm going to use my black Posca to write the word favorite for favorite smells. So I added the words my favorite to my favorite smells, and lilac over here. So we've got lilacs and puppy breath. Those are my favorite smells. So I hope you had fun. Hope this gave you some ideas, maybe some new techniques you haven't tried in your art journal. And I hope that you are following along and doing the My Favorite Things art journal book. We're almost done with the book, couple pages left. And you can start this at any time. There's no time limit on it. So I'll have a link to the playlist, and you can go through and see all the different layouts that we've done in this book. And you can maybe create one of your own, of your favorite things. So thanks for stopping by, and go make some art in your art journal, because art soothes the heart.